Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to day 12's prompt of the Fearless 30 Challenge. Today's conversation is around what is my biggest failure. And we did talk about biggest mistakes, I think like on day 4, but I'll go into what I put together about failure. So, so the first thing is I don't like that word anymore. It's one of those that I would like to go away. Like hate and crazy, I'm working on as my next one to eliminate. Uh, so failure to me is giving up. And I haven't given up. I won't give up. So I can't possibly fail. That's why I think I liked the way it was framed on day 4 a little better. It was what are your biggest mistakes? And I've made a lot of mistakes. But I think if and the biggest failure or misconception or belief or whatever that I had, by my definition, isn't a failure because I figured it out. But what it is that I just cannot do my mission alone. I thought that this is how I thought it would go. I thought I would become a podcaster. That was step 1 of my master plan. I'd become a podcaster while I had my day job, and I would get sponsors, and the sponsors would help me raise like $1 million or whatever the thing is. Actually, I just thought of another failure. Here's another one. It's not even in my copy, but I am not good at asking for money. And it ties into this whole sponsorship thing. I never would go and ask people for sponsorship, not the way I wanted to or needed to make the podcast monetize. So all this time I've been paying for it myself, whether it's the editing, the time of me doing it, or me paying someone else to do it, all the technology, all of that. It's just all been out of my pocket. So essentially I added another expense. So that was one of my little failures, because in my mind, I thought I could do this by myself. So if I did this podcast, it would be something I could do complimentary and still have time to, do my day job. And then I thought I'd be able to quit my job, prove to investors from all this sponsorship money that never happens, that I can earn money, and they can put their faith in me to give me the 50 million, $100 million, whatever it is that I'm going to need to build my playgrounds. But it didn't work that way. So then when I signed up for a class to learn how to podcast in order to be here, this snowball effect happened with coaches. And it was going into 2020. So it started right before, like the coaching part started for me right before we went into COVID. So I went from the podcasting class to a public speaking class, but that wasn't what it was called. It was like for an entrepreneur class. And I did that for a few months, and then I graduated, and then I come back, and that led to business class 1, business coach 2, business coach 3. So all of 2020, I hired a lot of business coaches. And because of the speaking class, there was one that I found because of the event. He had won the event, the competition that I was. So if you took the class, you mastered your speech, you presented it, and you can win to go on stages like a TED Talk or things like that. And one of the past winners I had reached out to, not just because he's cute, he's a good looking dude, but his talk was good and whatever. So I reach out to him. Well, I don't know anything about this world at this point, like this coaching world and sales and social media and all this stuff. I knew nothing. Like, to me, social media was just a way for me to keep in touch with my friends and family. So we get on a call, and I tell him about the 3-2-1 dream. And then we get on a call the next day. And he's offering value on the call. He's giving me some insight and stuff. So I give this man $5,000, well, 4,500, whatever it was. But then I get in his program and he kind of trains me the way to be a coach in the way that he wants the group to be a coach. Like it was about his program. It wasn't about how to help me with 321, which is what I thought it was. And that story kind of repeated until fall of 2020. I came in contact. I was somewhere where Grant Cardone was one of the speakers, and I joined his program. And in the middle of all of that, there was many, many bad coaches, many high ticket courses that I paid for, and I would spend all this time trying to learn the new thing and to try to pivot. And they make it all sound so easy, and it's like, I'm willing to do anything. I'm not, again, I don't give up, so I can't fail. But some of these things, they're just skilled marketers. And maybe that's part of why I am not very open or very aggressive about asking for money. And through all this coaching, that is one of the things that's come out. I have to ask for money, and I have to just be okay with it because I know I can't do the greater good without it. So for like fundraising or sponsorships and all of those things. So I have to figure it out, right? Like that's the part I have to train myself on. And Grant's been pretty instrumental in that money mindset. But I also took, God, probably 4 money mindset courses throughout all that time. So anyway, so that's the plan. Get a podcast, get wealthy on sponsorships. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, so spend all my money and resources to learn new ways to get money, convince the investors, and build my thing, and away we go. Well, that didn't work out quite exactly how I thought that was going to work out. So fast forward, through all the nonsense, I went back to a day job. As you know, I just parted ways with them in March. So here we are. Coming out of all that, the last day job taught me some amazing things. And again, this is why it's not a failure. But the teamwork part, when you're managing a remote team, and I applied a little bit of my recovery stuff into the day-to-day, and then the remote team, and really making sure you communicate well and see what can happen when you have the right team in place. It became really, really clear to me. I needed help. And I just I don't have a couple $1 million sitting around. So why don't I ask? There's money freaking everywhere. There's people who believe in good causes everywhere. So that's who I want to connect with. I want to connect with those who want to give back, whether it's time or their superpower. Because here's one of the other things. As I went through this I was thinking I could learn the things I needed to get the thing done. That's how I met the man who teaches you how to open a halfway house, and the lady with the virtual reality glasses, and all these things. So I would go, I would learn, I'd come back, and I'd execute. And what would end up happening is I would lose this chunk of time doing this thing that I didn't really enjoy, that deviated me from the plan. Like if I actually just stuck with the first plan and went after like grants and community and just worked through the gambling community network, it would have a different path. But I don't consider that a failure. And here's why. Because the dream continues to evolve and grow and get more and more enhanced and more dialed in. I'm very clear on the kinds of activities that I want. But things have been getting added. The more I learn, the more research I do. I go to a lot of entertainment, like adventure places or entertainment facilities, or amusement park kind of things. I'm always on the lookout for what I think makes sense for the 321 vision and what I want it to look like. So it hasn't been a failure the last 4 years. Do I have money in the bank? Pretty much no. Do I have 1 million followers? No. But those aren't the things that define me and indicate that I'm a failure. I could look at it that way, but I am going to be with the right people at the right time, doing the right things, and I'm not going to fail. But if I was to say my biggest failure, it would be thinking that I could do it alone or that I could learn it all and execute it alone. I think that I've been given the gift of experience the last couple of years in addition to my past life so that I can become a better leader. Imagine if I didn't know the things I know now and I tried to build this organization with my judgment first, expect the worst, not good direct communication, not knowing the resources that were available. I would have fell on my face. That would have probably been a failure because that would have been traumatic and I probably would have given up. But going through all these hoops and overcoming them, figuring it out, taking the next step. I remember when I quit my job, I was like, I can't mess this up because all business is, there's a way to be successful. You just have to like try and figure out the right road. And I picture it like a lot of forks in the road. Okay, I went here. Oh, it was a dead end, like a labyrinth, right? But you don't hang out in the labyrinth and shrivel up and die. No, you turn around and you go down another path and you see where that takes you. And maybe you're picking up flowers along the path. And then all of a sudden you have a nice big bouquet at the end. I like that visual. Anyway, so that's what today was about. Biggest failure. And it's just such a yucky word. So guys, really remember, I think part of why they call this the vulnerable challenge is, or the fearless challenge, and he asks for us to be visible, valuable, and vulnerable, is it's very uncomfortable to talk about the what have I done as a person through the lens of um, like I like sharing my experience with you guys to give you facets of it to make it relatable. But this, like, talking about, like all my stuff in this me way is very uncomfortable. So thank you for bearing with me on this. And thank you for understanding. It's just so that you can understand the mission a little more uh, and what I'm all about. And as we go forward, you're going to hear me asking, hey, who wants to volunteer? Who wants to raise their hand? And invite you into the community that I'm building in order to go forward with this. So I love you, beautiful people. Thank you again for being here today. And I will see you for day 13.